Chicago jumps on that pitch. Deep left center. Goodbye. Infield's brought in for Carpenter now. 1-1. Carpenter with a drive. Into left center. At the wall. Gone! It's gone! 3-run homer. Carpenter. Wow! It's a fastball. Watch out. A 3-1 pitch. DeYoung to left. Walk it up. You bet. He got the fastball. A walk-off winner for St. Louis. Good night. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, game number 2 of the 4-game series. The Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. What an exciting game number 1. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals winning series. They're winning games 6 in a row. What an exciting night, game 1.
I don't know how you top game 1, but maybe we'll do it tonight. Last night's game turned on this play. Bryce Harper at the plate. He lines into a double play. DeYoung completes it, and everything went the Cardinals' way after that. The Matt Carpenter home run, a big moment. We thought that was the game winner, but it took Paul DeYoung to win it in the 9th. What a great crowd we had last night here at Busch Stadium.
Now it's game number 2. Will the good times keep on rolling? We're about to find out. The Nationals and Cardinals coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. Brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. In St. Louis, the Cardinals winning games and doing it in many ways, including their bullpen.
The bullpen's been terrific. That's the big change for the Cardinals. It has affected everything else. Daniel Ponce de Leon, Dakota Hudson having terrific years in AAA. They have been lights out. The lefties have also done a good job. Looking at their numbers, that's why, Dan, the Cardinals are back playing good baseball.
The bullpen outstanding. At what point do we see him tonight? John Gant on the mound for St. Louis. Gio Gonzalez for the Nats. Baseball coming up. The anticipation in the crowd here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals, game 2 of this 4-game series. Along with Rick Horton, Erica Weston, I'm Dan McLaughlin. A brief rain shower about 45 minutes ago really has cooled things off. So 77 degrees here at the ballpark. Here's a look at Bryce Harper. He's in the lineup again for the Washington Nationals, trying to bounce back after 2 heartbreaking losses, the second of which thanks to Paul DeYoung. Boy, what a moment that was.
Well, it's not just about the home runs. It's also about the leather. The Cardinals have been playing better defense lately. Their pitching's improved, especially in the bullpen. Pitching and defense go together.
John Gant is on the mound for the Cardinals. His last start, he set down the final 14 that he saw in Miami. And this will be his 11th start of the year.
Only gave up 2 hits in that game, 1 run, and it was a very solid game. The pitch count was low. His arsenal, fastball, changeup, curve, and slider. And the changeup, we've talked about it a lot. It's the split-fingered grip, really, with the middle 2 fingers, the Vulcan grip. And when it's right, that's his wipeout pitch.
There's a look at Dave Martinez. They have made changes. Their bullpen after the last 2 games. They had the walk-off grand slam against them on Sunday night against Chicago. The walk-off last night. Adam Eaton, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper. You look at the lineup, it's loaded with big names and stars. Anthony Rendon, Juan Soto, who homered last night. Daniel Murphy, Matt Adams, the former Cardinal, Matt Wieters, and the pitcher batting ninth, Gio Gonzalez. Well, prior to our first pitch, Adam Eaton Stretch and go. Looks like Rick Horton about 5 minutes ago getting ready for our telecast. That's how you throw out a back.
I wonder if he does that every day.
I know you do.
Got to stay in shape, Danny.
You bet. You're all over it.
It's a long season.
It's a grind. There's Mike Schilt. Thought it was funny in the scrum today. Mike was asked, you're a month into this now. Are you being recognized? Are you a face that people around town are saying hello to? He said every once in a while. He said, but kind of in a southern drawl. You got to understand. I come to the ballpark, manage the game. I eat at the ballpark. I go to bed, and I come back to the ballpark. He's a baseball lifer. And a strike.
We asked him on the road a few times about his social life, and he said, nah, don't really have one. My social life is with my coaches and the players and being at the ballpark.
He loves to talk baseball. 0-2 on Adam Eaton. And anytime you talk to Mike Schilt, he's always talking about Ali Marmol or Jose Oquendo, his coaching staff, and the great job that they've done in helping in the transition.
Jose's been his biggest asset, he says, and Jose has nothing but praise for what Mike Schilt has done.
Here's the 0-2, and now 1-2. Mark Budaska and George Greer. There's Pop Warner there on the right, who's the bench coach. Interesting when you talk to Pop and Mike Maddox, but in particular Pop, he said they go back and forth about how they manage every single inning. There's a strikeout on a good changeup. And he said, you know what, though, we're just talking baseball. You know, it's not personal. It's just we go back and forth. We're loaded with info and opinions.
We talked a lot about yesterday. In fact, we talked about the transition for the Cardinals team because they have new faces, but it's not a hard transition because they're guys that have come up from the minor leagues, guys they know. Well, the same is true with the coaching staff transition. Mike Schilt very familiar with Pop Warner and Mark Budaska and George Greer. They already have long-standing relationships, so not that hard for them to come together and get on the same page.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Trey Turner. I don't know if you heard this. I mentioned with Al the other night, but Pop was telling me, and Pop's role prior to being assigned as the bench coach was to rove the minor leagues. Longtime manager, former player in the Cardinals system, but they've got it set up now to where the managers at the different levels, excluding the big league club, will take off a series or 5 days or a week just to get a break. And so Pop will go into various cities prior to arriving here in St. Louis and just take over the club. Very interesting. That's handled by Carpenter. Gant to the bag for the out.
Well, you better get that play done quickly the way Turner runs. It creates a little stress and a little pressure. There's the flip. It's a little high. Good thing Gant was athletic enough to get to it, but he was running straight to the bag. A lot of times you kind of try to cut it off, but Gant's making that route straight to the bag, which sometimes causes collisions. But when the runner's fast, Dan, forget that little loop thing. Usually you teach go to the line, then run up the line. But if the runner's fast, you don't do that. You go right to the bag and take your chances.
Straight line, the quickest way to get from point A to point B, and especially when Trey Turner's running.
You've obviously studied math.
Not well, but yes.
Well, that was an A- description of.
Yeah. It was suspect at best. There's a strike to Bryce Harper. I found it interesting in one of the first conversations with Mike Schilt. He mentioned a straight line in communication. And he said if you deviate from the straight line, you're wasting your time. So nip it in the bud, get back on that straight line if there's any types of issues. And that's one of the words that he uses all the time. Communication. Players, staff, front office, everybody involved getting this thing going in the right way.
And anybody that's studied communication understands that that's a two-way street. There is communicating, and then there's receiving the communication, and that, I think that's got to be part of it, is to make sure that the message is not only heard but understood properly, and that requires ongoing conversation. That's why he has these baseball talk meetings with small groups of players before games and throws out a topic, and a coach will kind of MC it, if you will, but the players get a chance to actually participate in baseball conversation with each other and hold each other accountable. I think it's a great idea.
They point out some of the bad, thinking of cutoffs and how to set up and where you want to go, and maybe base running plays, but also the unheralded plays that are good baseball plays. And they have that on video as well. For instance, there was a situation in which the Cardinals, and I can't remember the game, but it was a blowout game, and in which they were winning, and Marcell Ozuna was racing down the first base line and was out by a half step, and they pointed to that play and said, Mike said, that's my favorite play of that game, the hustle. 3-2 on Harper. Harper lines it into right field. Martinez the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for John Gant, and the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Numbers starting to pile up for the Cardinals leadoff man Matt Carpenter with home run number 33 last night. Nice round of applause for Carp. He's at the top, and then Molina and Martinez, Ozuna, DeYoung, and Jerko, Bader, Wong, and Gant. Gio Gonzalez, start number 24.
There was a time where he may have been the best left-hander in the game, and he's kind of settled back a little bit. He's a 500 pitcher, at least this year, on a good starting staff. The staff for the Nationals, Dan, in the last 19 games has the lowest ERA of any team in the National League, 2.65. Gonzalez is part of that. Of course, Scherzer's a big part of it, but starting pitching has not been their problem.
Carpenter laid down a bunt, first plate appearance last night. His on-base percentage leading off a game is .439. So the shift on the right side of the infield. No surprise there, and a 1-1. Carpenter with a fly ball into right. And the catch made by Adam Eaton. Around the horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Soto, Harper, and Eaton in the outfield. Rendon, Turner, Murphy, and Adams along the infield, and Matt Wieters behind the plate. What do you think of that mustache of Adam Eaton's? Ditched the beard and gone with the mustache. Wow. He's got a look of a certain, a couple of different types of characters you might think about. Got to change your luck. And in this case, your look.
It's all about style, whatever he's comfortable with. Now, if he played for Don Mattingly, he wouldn't even have that.
No. Or the Yankees.
Or the Yankees.
2-1 pitch. 2-2. Cardinals have been seeing left-handed starters and hitting .396 the last 3 games against these lefties. Seems like Gio Gonzalez has been around forever in Washington. The 2-2 pitch. Frank Robinson, the first manager of the Nationals. Davey Johnson had some success there. Dusty Baker. 3-2 the count. Yadier Molina. And Molina hits a fly ball out to left. Juan Soto. Boy, he was impressive last night, wasn't he?
Oh boy, love his swing. He has terrific power the other way, and he is, I would say, most writers are talking more about him currently as the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year. I think there's a lot of people that could change that in terms of what happens in the next 40 to 45 games. That's plenty of time for people to put up big numbers and change the writer's mind. But you watch Soto play for a couple of days and you realize why he's up in the big leagues at the age of 19.
Ronald Acuna with another home run hit for the Braves tonight. He's now homered in 7 of his last 8 games. 2 outs and nobody on, and it's 2 balls and no strikes on Jose Martinez.
You said the forever that Gio Gonzalez has been with the Nationals. His first year was 2012, and mentioned that he was really good when he first came to the Nationals. I guess 21-8, 2.8 ERA. He was, again, one of the game's best pitchers that year.
And remember, when they first got to Washington, they went through some tough, lean years at RFK Stadium, then went to Nationals Park. And they had the back-to-back #1 overall picks, Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg. There's a base hit into center.
I think Jose's been getting an extra helping of salsa.
4 hits last night. In the month of August, Kubota Power Stats, the Cardinals have 2 in the top 5 highest average in the National League. Ozuna .333 and Molina .315. That's now 5 consecutive at bats in the series, by the way, for Jose Martinez with a base hit in the series.
And Ozuna came very close to having a 4-hit night himself. Hit one off the pitcher that turned into an out and got robbed by Rendon on a ball hit right over the third base bag that was hit sharply. And I think he saw a grand total of about 6 pitches in those 4 at-bats. So he's been aggressively looking for that first pitch he could handle.
You know, the Cardinals have not been retired 1, 2, 3 since the 6th inning of Sunday's game. That's glaring. I mean, that wears out a pitching staff, the opposition. Those late key at bats Sunday in Kansas City and again last night. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Marcell Ozuna. A little change up, 1-2.
I wonder if there'll ever be a day where some physiological input might say that, look, when a guy throws out of the stretch, it's 1.1 times harder than throwing out of the windup, so they might actually count pitches out of the windup and out of the stretch. So if you're talking about very few 1, 2, 3 innings, that's a much more stressful group of pitches that the Cardinals are forcing the other team to make.
And a ground ball deep in the hole. Jump throw, and what a play by Trey Turner. He's a good one. It shows us why with an outstanding play to take a hit away from Ozuna. Last night, Juan Soto with an opposite field home run. He's coming up, due up second when we come back. At the bottom of the first, the defense around the horn presented by Dobbs, Ozuna, Bader, and Martinez. Infield, Jerko, DeYoung, Wong, and Carpenter. And the 9-time All-Star behind the plate, Yadier Molina. Anthony Rendon. Then Soto and Daniel Murphy.
Dan, seeing the date on the base, and we know why they do that, because each base is authenticated and may be available for purchase if it's a special day at the ballpark and somebody wants to buy that. But as I saw that date, I was just reminded again of how it just does not feel like the dog days of August at all to me.
Got that feeling during batting practice today. I mean, players are, there's a little jump to their step.
And when we say the dog days of August in baseball, that comes from years of that being around the game. And how would you describe those days, Dan? What do you think of when you think of dog days of August?
Guys with their tongue hanging down on the floor, dragging their knuckles and rolling in. Oh man, another game. That's
what day is it?
You know,
what city are we in?
Right. Where am I? I'm tired. Yeah, I don't get that feeling one bit.
I'm having a bad year. It's too late.
I can't make it up. That's to Paul DeYoung as Gant jammed him. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Rick. And again, it's just a different feel when you're down there. And you know, I give Mike Schilt a lot of credit. His coaches a lot of credit. Winning will do that, as you well know. But you keep guys energized too.
Yeah.
And there's something to that.
And there's a freshness to it, freshness, energy, almost a vision right now that this is how we can win. And I think they know this is how we can win. It includes the better bullpen. It includes the starting pitching, which has been there all along. It includes the bats that have come alive with some speed added in.
I also feel the Cardinals have been proactive instead of reactive. They've taken it to the opposition and put them on their heels. There's a 1-0 pitch to Juan Soto.
Fair to say Mike Schilt had nothing to lose doing that?
Absolutely. You know, John Mozeliak has said his interview is right now. You want to interview for the job? Here you go. He is the interim manager right now of the Cardinals, and I know a lot of fans are saying, well, are you going to take away the interim tag? And Mo has been quick to point out, let's pump the brakes, slowly evaluate where we're at, but clearly things are going in the right direction.
Fair to say the first part of the interview has gone well.
I would say so. But you're still renting, not buying. That's fouled back. But it's a lot of factors, though, with Mike Schilt. With number one, communicating with your team and your players, getting them up to speed on what you want to accomplish. That goes for his staff as well and how they work together. And a strikeout of Soto.
Well, Gant's going to throw a couple of different off-speed pitches. The curveball's one of them. He doesn't throw that as often, but he's got a good curveball. 79 miles an hour, hit the bottom part of the plate. Change-ups more often, but the curveball can be a plus pitch for him. It was there.
Winning games certainly helps. His dealings before and after the game with media, another aspect of this. As Murphy lifts a fly ball out to Marcell Ozuna, and the catch is made. 1, 2, 3 go the Nationals. DeYoung, Jerko, and Bader coming up. walk-off home run hit last night by Paul DeYoung. And let's check in with Erica.
Yeah, Paul's first career walk-off home run last night. As you would imagine, he said it took him quite a bit to go to sleep last night. He had plenty of people reaching out after the game last night. He said after the game that his power surge as of late came from a conversation in Miami with Harrison Bader. You can see in the first game of the trip in Miami, he got a hit off of Kyle Bearclaw, but he was trying to find out where his hands go. Bader told him that his hands looked a little bit high. He agreed with him, and he felt like he was unlocking something. Now, Paul said after coming off the disabled list, he said things got away from him a little bit. He didn't feel like he was pressing or missing pitches, but it turned physical. He said his discipline at the plate was there and the timing was there, so that's why he altered the grip to try to get that loop out of his swing, and it paid dividends last night, guys.
No doubt. Here's a 1-1 pitch. And DeYoung hits it into the gap in right center field. That's all the way to the wall. And Paul to second base, and he'll stop right there. You know, Jim Hayes actually was the first to report that, and I know that has been circulating the hands and where they've been located. Jim reported that in Miami in that conversation that he had with Harrison Bader, and obviously it's paid off. So leadoff double for DeYoung, and it brings in Jed Jerko. That's now 7 consecutive games with an extra base hit for Paul DeYoung.
What a difference a few weeks makes, Danny. You look at this Cardinals lineup and you feel like there's danger up and down the lineup now. And there was a period where you just could not imagine the Cardinals having a big number on the board late in the game and coming back. You just didn't feel that the offense was gelling and there was enough to be a potent offense. And now you have Jerko at the plate hitting in the 6th spot, and you feel pretty good about that.
Jed with a home run last night, his 9th of the year. You know, going back to DeYoung, you could see him, Rick, in the first game in Miami. He was hitless until his final at bat, and he took a ball to right field. And sometimes when a hitter goes the other way, it tells you they're letting the ball get deeper. They're seeing the ball better too.
And I also like the fact that you have one player talking to another about their hands, and you know that's been a Bader issue. Where is his hands? And so you're learning. You're going to help somebody else learn. And you know, I've seen Bader's hands different, and they know each other as much as anybody. They've seen each other hit day after day in the minor leagues. They know each other, so you can coach your teammates too.
Think about how many swings they watch of each other starting in spring training. Some guys working out together in the offseason, but day after day in the cage, on the field before the game, and then certainly watching video together too. Can't tell you how many times I've been on the backfields in spring training and seen players just watch each other and help each other, those backfields in spring.
It's one of my favorite places to be.
It's when you talk to Mark Budaska and George Greer and some of the others.
Sit in a golf cart with them.
That's right. 2-2. Half the time I'm looking for you in spring training. It's 2 places I know.
Yes.
Well, make it 3 if you count the beach.
You're going to say golf course.
Yep. And the backfields.
Yes.
You love the backfields like I do. Watch Delvin Perez. Watch Nolan Gorman next year in spring training. The 2-2 pitch. Little chopper. DeYoung reads it well. And Jerko is out. We've also talked about Harrison Bader and a change in his style and approach at the plate as well.
So you look at May 29th and August 11th. May, the hands higher than they were August 11th. The bat a little more straight up and down, and you can
see somewhat, but the arms are a little closer to his body on the right too. He doesn't have that big kind of elbow sticking out look with the bat flatter on his shoulder, and you know that may be something that you fall into and you don't even know you're doing it, and that's why having somebody else have eyes on you is very helpful.
Here's Bader. And ball one. Infield drawn in here in the second inning for Washington.
I think it's helped Harrison be quicker to the ball, not quite have such a big load and a big loop that we were talking about earlier. And the strikeouts were high a few weeks ago, but he's cut down on them.
And it's 1-1. How about your thoughts with the infield in the second inning drawn in for Washington?
More teams do that now.
Yeah,
They just don't want to concede. I think there was a time in baseball you wouldn't do it early, but I think most teams do it now. I'm betting there's an algorithm somewhere that says you're better off in the long run giving it a shot.
The 1-1 to Harrison Bader. Used to be, see this if it was an ace on the mound, the opposition thinking, well, you may not get another chance to stop a run from scoring.
Right.
The 2-1 pitch to Bader. 3-1. Colton Wong on deck.
So Dan, we talked earlier about pitch count. So the last 3 pitches that Gio Gonzalez threw, with a runner at third base, facing a guy that's got some pop, potential to give up a run, it just takes more effort. And it's more taxing, mentally, physically. So it's not just one pitch, and I can't tell you if it's 1.1, 1.2, what it is, but there's definitely a degree of difficulty.
3-2 the count. He averages about 18 pitches per inning, just over that, which is 4th most in baseball. And I'd be curious to go back to your theory. Is it from the stretch? Is it the windup? And you know, if it's the stretch, it's stressful more times than not. A 3-2 pitch to Bader. It's a high fly ball out to left field, backing up Soto. The catch is made. DeYoung tags up. The throw from left field, not in time, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Bader, his 21st run batted in this year.
That's situational hitting. You can't afford to strike out there. You hit a fly ball to the outfield, you're doing your job. Soto tried to get behind this, and he just mistimed it a little bit. He got it in front of it a little bit, and that maybe lessened his throw, but I don't think he had a chance anyway to get DeYoung.
Well, Paul has now scored in 5 straight games. Here's Colton Wong.
Back to the pitch count conversation, Dan. Jordan Kissel always had a thought that the first time a pitcher gets into jam, that's 1. Second time you get in jam, that's 2. Third time, you're out. And he wasn't necessarily counting the pitches, but he was recognizing that you were in 3 tough situations and working hard.
What would he do then if that happened, let's say, first, second, third inning, and the pitch count was really low?
Well,
teachable moment to get him out?
It probably wouldn't be. It probably wouldn't be low in most cases.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with base, I mean, we're talking about not just a runner at second. We're talking about bases loaded and just generally a long inning, a hard inning.
Sure. 2-1 pitch, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
2-2. Bader and DeYoung talking again. We have the chance to visit with a lot of teams that come into St. Louis or vice versa, and they are talking in glowing terms about Harrison Bader and the way that he goes about his business defensively.
Michael Morse is doing the color for the Nationals with Bob Carpenter, my partner from years ago in Cardinals baseball and longtime St. Louis resident. Grew up in St. Louis, and Michael Morse said, "I love that Bader. I can't wait to watch him play." That was his comment. Saw him again right before the broadcast, and he just couldn't wait to see Bader play.
When I think Michael Morse, I think, and there's Bob there on the right and Morse on the left. But I think about Michael Morse, and I think Kyle Loesch, who's on the mound.
He was.
It was a reviewable home run, and no one knew what was going on. And Morse actually had to go back and start circling the bases.
It was the early days of review, and they were trying to get the kinks out of it, and nobody really knew whether that was going to last or not. And it was only boundary replays. You remember that? It wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't catches or no catches. There wasn't some of the things we can review now, hit by pitch or not. It was only boundary issues, meaning home runs and fan interference.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Michael Morse, this a few years ago.
And here's the home run he hits, and the umpires all saw it wrong. They saw it hit off the top of the wall, and then they went to the replay, and he wasn't sure at first what to do. And so then they said, well, no, you got to go all the way back to home and start all over again for some reason. So he retraced his steps.
That's hit out to deep left. Speaking of home runs, John Gant, are you kidding me? First ever hit. He does it in style.
That is stunning, Dan. He just broke an 0 for 30 major league career with that swing. 0 for 30. But not anymore.
That's when things are really going right. The curtain call moments ago for Gant. 3-0 Cardinals on the 2-run homer hit by Gant. And this may drop. Nope, it's caught. Catch made by Daniel Murphy. See Mike Maddox here saying, okay, home run's nice. Get locked back in. 3-0 St. Louis. Homer. Let's go StatCast AI powered by AWS. And Ricky, this really is a no-doubter.
And you know, when he was 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, that was a dream.
Yeah.
To be a big leaguer and hit a home run, and I'm sure he wanted to pitch too, but that's a terrific moment for John Gant. And I hope somebody got the baseball up there in the stands in left field. And I know the ushers are really good at that here, recognizing that's a big moment. That's not only his first home run, as we mentioned, his first hit in the big leagues. And he'll want to keep that baseball for a long time.
You could see the ushers as we speak right now pointing, yeah, right there, pointing in that direction to find the gentleman that caught that baseball. Matt Adams tips his cap to the crowd here at Busch Stadium as Yadier Molina stepped out in front of the plate.
I don't know how long this tradition has been going on, but I hope it doesn't stop.
How about last night with the game on the line and Adams at the plate? Yadi did the same thing.
So whenever Yadi retires, which I think is going to be in about 15 to 20 years, I think he just leaves a little note in his locker that, hey, whoever takes his locker, here's what you do when a former player comes back, to make sure he's honored appropriately.
I'll tell you this, Matt Adams handled everything with class here in St. Louis. Many believed he should have been playing at some point, but where could you put him? He tried to play the outfield. It wasn't pretty, but it was okay. Certainly not great. But he had some tremendous moments here in St. Louis. Postseason home run off of Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, yeah, that's what I remember.
I think about the 2 home runs in extra innings hit at Cincinnati. Another one. It's a good player. He's had a solid year with 18 home runs. And a grounder that's taken by Carpenter. And a final point, he was a good citizen. You know, everybody wants to play. I'm sure he's frustrated. Didn't say a word about it.
Had a nice visit with him yesterday. He's happy to be playing at all right now because he got hurt bunting, and they thought he'd be out for a long time. He had an issue with his hand, I believe, hand or wrist, and he was on the disabled list, but it was really a short time. They thought it would be a long time out, and he said that he just healed quickly.
Yeah. Again, now 21 in a row going back to last game. That's pulled foul. He never homered, by the way, in the minor leagues, so he's got that now checked off. He's homered in the big leagues. And 21 in a row going back to his last start in Miami, coupled with what's gone on tonight.
So he's not going to do it now, but after the game, if he assuming he pitches well, and buddies might call him, ask him, hey, how'd it go? How'd you pitch? Well, I hit this ball. I hit this ball over the left field wall, and yeah, but how'd you pitch? Well, I got a fastball and I turned on it. I mean, that's what he's going to want. It's what he's going to want to talk about, and I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. 0-2 the count on Matt Wieters. Matt Adams, by the way, still his off-season home here in St. Louis. Find him at Blues games and about town. Really good person. 1-2 pitch. Spoiled. I'd like to see that. 23 strikes of the 35 pitches. Sometimes that's more about, 50-50 sometimes with John Gant. He slaps his glove, left that pitch up. Why do bugs love our microphones? They find them, don't they? And that's lifted in the air to right center into the gap. And Bader quickly retrieved that baseball. First hit for the Nationals tonight. Cardinals, when they hit a home run, our Lowe's whole team together 56-28. They've got one tonight thanks to John Gant. That's a .667 winning percentage. Gio Gonzalez at the plate. Martinez near the line and with the catch.
And that's the kind of winning percentage you get when you win series, and that's something we're starting to talk more about. And I even hear players talk about that now in a new way. And it's not really a new way, it's kind of an old way, but it's resurfacing. And the Cardinals have won 5 straight series. This is a 4-game series against the Nationals. But if you win every series, you're going to be in it.
Cardinals are 4 games above the 500 mark at home, and you'd like to say that has to improve and will improve down the stretch. A lot of home games left for the Cardinals. Adam Eaton at the plate. Looked like Willie was trying to get somebody to move in.
I believe it was Martinez in right. He's got his card. Players will have theirs. There you go. They're talking. I got it.
And the 1-0 pitch to Adam Eaton.
Makes me think of George Hendrick at the first time he came over to the. Actually, Willie McGee came to the Cardinals in '82, and George took him down the right field line. It's Willie's favorite story. Took him into the right field line. He said, "Willie, what's that?" And he said, "It's the right field line." And he said, "No, Willie, what's that?" And he said, "It's a corner." He said, "Willie, what's that?" And he said, "I don't know, George, what is it?" He says, "That's where I'm going to stand. You catch everything to the left of me."
And he just about did, didn't he? That's great. And you know, Willie's so humble. Okay, probably, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I make a point anytime I'm around Willie to say, "Hello, Willie, how are you?" And then he just smiles. "Dan, what you got for me?" He's been awesome to have around. I think the fan base loves seeing him in uniform and back in town too. Matter of fact, I know they do.
When you're around Willie, you know, the humility is still there. That's going to be his baseline characteristic that will never change. That's who he is. But you also really see him as a coach now. He's a learner and a teacher. So he's learning and he's passing along at the same time.
It's a breaking ball again. It's been a little sharper tonight. 3-2. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. Gant may have slipped. Look back at the mound. 3-2 here on Eaton with Trey Turner on deck. Struck him out. Comes back to get him. John Gant with his 3rd strikeout. Allows a base hit. Nationals strand a runner. Molina, Martinez, Ozuna coming up. John Gant with a 2-run homer tonight. Let's turn to Rick's Toyota key to the game.
Well, I think the key to the game is starting to happen. It's the Cardinals hitting early, and a number of reasons for that. You want to ride the momentum of yesterday's win. You want to keep the Nationals down. They're not feeling very good about 2 late inning losses, and the Nationals bullpen is struggling. They did make a couple of changes. They have a couple of guys up from AAA, Trevor Gott and Tim Collins. They sent out Sammy Solis, who gave up the home run yesterday, and they also put Ryan Matson on the DL, and he was their closer, and he's the 3rd closer on the DL for the Nats.
During the 6-game winning streak, innings 1 through 6, 17 runs scored. 7th inning or later, doing some damage. There's a base hit by Molina. We found this very interesting during the break. The Cardinals now with 3 pitchers that have homered this year: Michaelis, Carlos Martinez, John Gant. Last time that happened, you have to go all the way back to 1973. Rick Wise, Bob Gibson, and Scipio Spinks. And we were thinking, well, man, you had Joaquin Andujar, who would swing for the fences. You had Bob Forsch, a former third baseman. He could hit. There's a diving stop by Murphy, and they'll get the lead man. Nice play by Daniel Murphy.
Very nearly 6 hits in a row for Jose Martinez.
Can I go back to somebody that I know you like to talk about as we see this play by Daniel Murphy?
Of course you can.
When you were playing with Willie McGee,
yes,
and you know Willie really well as a teammate, as a good friend, do you have any idea that he'd be coaching someday? You know, some guys you know, but Willie's kind of a mild-mannered, quiet guy.
I didn't think he would. No, I mean, I didn't. It wouldn't be a matter of I didn't think he couldn't, but you know, there's something about the star players, and Willie did not like attention. I actually lockered next to him a lot because our numbers were close, 49 and 51. So I was very near him. I heard a lot of his interviews, and it was the same interview. How you do? Well, we're just trying to give my best and help the team and do what we can. I mean, he never deviated from that for all of his years as a Cardinal. And thank you very much for the question, and move to the next person. I mean, he was very gracious to everybody, but I just thought that attention would be, he'd be glad to just get away from it. And he did get away from it for a while. And it wouldn't be the kind of guy you'd say, hey, Willie, you need to come back and coach with the Cardinals because you could run for mayor in St. Louis.
Right.
Everybody loves you here. That wouldn't be the reason he'd want to do it, so he could get a lot of credit and a lot of applause. And it would almost be a reason for him not to. So, I mean, he had to be sold on the baseball part, and that's what he's bought into.
He told me he was ejected 1 time at any level. 1 time. And he said that was the last time. He said, I understand sometimes you get into it with an umpire. That's lined to left field, but the catch made. He said, but what I learned is that you can go back and get in the guy's face and yell and scream and throw things. He said, it doesn't matter. The umpire is not going to change his call, so I'm not going to act like that on the field.
Wasted energy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I told this story earlier. What he told me he's most proud of is that at the very end of his career, and we knew he was going to retire in '97, I guess it was, and he said an umpire came to him. He was at second base and said, thank you, Willie, for everything you've done. And he said, when an umpire does that to you,
yeah, that's great.
It means a lot. So 2 outs, and here's Paul DeJong. A double into right center, first time up. Two balls and no strikes. Kia drive to success. Carpenter, DeJong, Martinez basically driving in a run just about every game this month. The 2-0 pitch. Two and one. Milwaukee a 7-0 win today against Chicago. If the Cardinals could win tonight, only 4 out in the Central.
I must admit I've been focusing more when I check all of my daily information, Dan, and we get plenty of it. I've been focusing more on the wild card than the division.
Me too.
Because first things first, but 4 games is pretty darn close. Cardinals are at the high water mark, by the way, of the season, plus 9 games over 500.
And Paul hits one out to center. Back goes Harper with room to make the catch. Cardinals strand a runner, their second of the night. John Gant back to work. 3-0.
The Nationals by score of 3-0. Tyler O'Neill activated today off of the 10-day disabled list after 2 rehab games with the Memphis Redbirds. He says the aches and pains are all gone. He's ready to play baseball. He was happy to be back, especially with that atmosphere last night at Busch Stadium. Paul DeYoung's walk-off home run. He's ready to go. Mike Schilt saying he's happy to have Tyler back. Of course, Adolis Garcia option back to Memphis. Quick update on Michael Wacha as well after throwing a bullpen session yesterday. Michael saying earlier today he expects to throw 2 more pens and then is anticipating a rehab assignment sometime next week, guys.
All right, thank you. Let's hit down the right field line, slicing foul and out of play by Trey Turner.
Cardinals may have, Dan, some interesting and difficult choices over the next few weeks, trying to figure out where to put healthy pieces back into a mix that's working.
Well, you're talking about Brett Cecil and Adam Wainwright. Rehab assignment on, I guess it was yesterday. That's hit down the left field line. Well hit. Hooking and foul.
Carlos Martinez.
Another one.
Michael Wacha. I mean, they're good pieces. It's not that, but where do you put them? And how does that change the feeling and the energy that's happening in the bullpen? For example, with Carlos going to the bullpen, I think that's the right move. That was announced yesterday by the Cardinals that they felt that that would be a better way to get him back sooner and to have more of an impact. But whose innings does he take?
And like you said, it's this isn't a team that's lost 6 in a row. This is a team going the right way. 9 games, as you talked about, above 500. Gant got him to reach, and it's popped up. Wong with the catch. And there's one away to start play here in the top of the 4th. John Gant looks good. MLB.TV now available at a lower price. $59.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB at Bat. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV and take advantage of this special offer. There's Bryce Harper. Lined out his first time up. One ball and one strike. He thought that was a ball. Evens it up 1-1. Two balls and a strike. The wide base of Bryce Harper, spread out at the plate. 2-2. The comparison of Mike Trout, Bryce Harper. It seems like these two will always be compared against each other. But look at the WAR. Big difference.
Yeah, the WAR, and I'm actually a little surprised by that. But that WAR is a pretty good indication of just how valuable a player is over a long haul, and that includes offense, defense, power, you name it. And Trout has a considerably higher number than Harper does. But Harper's okay because he knows that you think he's a great player, so he's fine.
That was at the bottom of that graphic. Dan likes Harper. Thinks he's good.
Well, who doesn't think he's good? I mean, he's definitely good.
So 2 outs and Anthony Rendon. Mike Trout, be a treat for this baseball city to see that type of player come through town. In addition to Albert Pujols back in St. Louis. The 0-1.
We are hopeful for that. See what kind of pull I have, Dan, to see if I can make that happen for
Make it happen.
2019.
Talk to the commish. Get it done. I'm not talking about Rick Hummel.
The real commish. The other commish.
That's right.
Well, I'm the commissioner of fantasy camp, so and that
that's a lot of pull there.
You know that creates a lot of pull. So there's the commish on the right. The two of us talk to the real commish. I think we'll just have a commish meeting.
It's Derek Gould there on the left, realizing now he's on television and saying, well, I better start actually working. Two of our favorites do a great job covering the ball club day in and day out. The Post-Dispatch. 2-2 hit out of play. By the way, Kamish asked me to pass this along. Sam Russell Jr. is watching tonight. He'll be 100 in October. Lives in Atlanta. Watches all Cardinal games from Quincy, Illinois. First attended a game in 1930. Favorite player #1, Dizzy Dean. He mentioned he loved Red Stan, Bob Gibson, Enos Slaughter, Terry Moore. Sam Russell Jr. You've seen a lot of baseball. And happy birthday.
Lorraine Rush is watching our broadcast tonight. She's 91 and an avid Cardinal fan in Northeast Missouri.
Got him to reach, and the ground out off the bat of Anthony Rendon from section 165. The View 3-0 midway through 4. This weekend, presented by Edward Jones, we have the Dizzy Dean Watch, courtesy of AT&T, a giveaway on Sunday. Cardinals.com/promotions. Be my honor and privilege to MC the Hall of Fame ceremonies on Saturday, which is open to the public. You'll be there with a former teammate, Vince Coleman, going in.
And Ray Langford, a former teammate.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
When did you overlap with Ray?
1990, I believe.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, we were teammates a very short time.
Here's a 1-1 pitch.
Harry Burkeen, no.
Two-one pitch. 2-2. Harry the Cat Burkeen. He was one that I was thinking privately should have been in maybe before this year.
Yeah.
His numbers remarkable, especially in postseason play.
Exactly.
Gonzalez, he thought he had strike 3. Or is he hurt? I thought the reaction may have been just because he didn't get the call, and he's waving off the medical team of the Nats.
I wonder if he landed funny.
I thought he was just upset he didn't get the call. No, that's not why. Yeah, it's something tangled up there. The landing area of the mound.
Anytime you see your pitcher grimace a little bit, and I think you could see that from the third base dugout, the little misstep at the end, trainer's going to go right out and check on him, as he should.
Maybe he spiked himself. Sometimes you see that. Not often, but it does happen. And a 3-2 pitch now to Jed Jerko.
Did I say trainer? I meant to say athletic trainer. I don't want to get any more tweets about getting that title wrong for the folks that take care of the major league players. There's the trip again. I'm sure he saw it right then and wanted to make sure he was okay.
And you're being serious when you say that.
Oh,
Trainer
yeah.
and athletic trainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there are different ways to get ready for an at-bat. Harrison Bader, one thing he'll do is spray the stick-up there on the inside of his glove as well, and on his hand. Most guys do it on the glove. Harrison right on the skin. That stick-up that is used. Ricky used to do that between pitches.
No, that would be illegal to use that.
Oh.
I would not do anything illegal, Danny.
About the emery board.
No, I wouldn't even have told you this before. I would never. I don't believe. Still to this day, have I ever touched a rosin bag? I don't even want to touch it. I would kick it out of the way if it was near the mound, because I didn't like the sticky feeling. I preferred the opposite. I preferred kind of a more sweaty, wet feel on a ball than stickiness. Now the guys that throw the hard curveballs, they would want that. I'd just kick it out of the way.
Could you imagine a guy having that stick-up spray in his back pocket? Hold on up.
Well, they've
All
had.
right, I'm ready.
Now they have had things in their back pocket, including nail files, emery boards.
The Vaseline on the cap or the uniform. Pine tar has been talked about a lot.
But hitters have been so innocent over the years.
Oh, here we go. You taking the pitcher's perspective on this one.
Well, I
should have known.
I went to one of my teammates' rooms in the minor league, and I watched and learned how to cork a bat. And the guy that did it struck out, never hit a foul ball the next day. He was 0 for 4. And the bat didn't help.
Maybe he was thinking about it.
It was just too light for him, apparently.
I bet.
But it was an interesting process. He brought a drill in his suitcase on the road to doctor his bats.
3-1. Some guys used to chew tobacco, get the spit on the ball, mix it with the rosin bag. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Harrison Bader. And a walk, so back-to-back walks for the Cardinals.
Well, Gonzalez said he's okay as far as whatever that little twisting happened on the landing, but the command hasn't been the same since that pitch.
Would you say it's harder now if a pitcher wanted to cheat because of all the cameras that are on them?
100%.
It'd be very tough to do. I'm sure it's done in some form or fashion by some, but it does make you think about it. Strike to Wong, and so Bader, you got the glove on. Can you get it off? And finally it came off. Runners at first and second, the 0-1. Nothing in 2 on Colton Wong.
I played on a team where every reliever in the bullpen had their personal pine tar rag that they kept in their back pocket. Everybody had
you're
one.
mentioning your teammates and not yourself.
I did not. I didn't like the feeling. I wouldn't use it. Nothing noble about it. I just didn't like it. And you can imagine, Dan, to your point, cameras everywhere. That would not have worked. There were times where they would slide into home plate. It would fall out of their pocket. They'd have to quickly put it back in. I mean, it just was part of the deal.
Love the one where Necro's on the mound and he reaches in his back pocket, throws the emery board out, and then shrugs his shoulders as if to say, what?
Right.
There's nothing here. Wong hits it down the right field line. Fair ball. One run is in. Bader racing to third. He will score. Wong delivers. 5-0 Cardinals. It's a big at-bat with the pitcher on deck.
And it's a nice add-on to the Cardinals' lead, and it's Colton Wong, who hasn't really missed a beat. After going to the disabled list, Dan, I thought at a terrible time for him. Starting to swing the bat well, and then he got hurt with his knee, went on the disabled list for a short time, but he's still having very good at-bats. You can tell he's still comfortable at the plate.
Here's Gant, who squares to bunt.
How can you bunt your home run hitter?
What's Mike Schilt doing? 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup have driven in all 5 for the Cardinals. Cardinals' previous 5 home run for their first career hit. Michaelis, DeYoung did that a year ago. Oscar Taveras in San Francisco, Steve Hill, and then Mark Worrell did it against these Nationals in Nationals Park. Pushes it foul, 0-2. Think about the perspective from the Nationals, their fan base, the dugout. 2 gut-wrenching back-to-back losses, and now down 5-0. Pulls it back, 1-2.
Well, they had to make a change in their bullpen. We mentioned 2 players up, 2 players out, but they are without Doolittle, who had 22 saves for them. I mean, that's a big miss. He's going to come back at some point. And also without Herrera, who became the closer, then he got hurt.
Pushed foul and a strikeout of Gant. His first time up, he went deep. Teammates love it. You know, we were talking about Willie McGee earlier. There's something about watching speed in the game of baseball going first to third or first to home, and that includes Harrison Bader. Man, when he gets it going, it is fun to watch.
I was kind of watching to see if he would lap Jed Jerko on Wong's ball in the right field. It is just fun to watch.
I mean, speed in the game is something we just don't talk about enough.
So he knows the ball's in the corner, and he's thinking home right now. I'm going to catch Jerko. It's like he's on the last leg of a 4x100 relay in the Olympics, and he's just going to be all out.
I mean, that's a blink of an eye that he gets around the bases. And here is Carpenter, who is 0 for 2. It's been rare these days where the Cardinals put up 5 and Matt Carpenter is not a part of the fun.
Matt has reached base in 31 straight games. 0 for 2 in this game, but don't count him out.
People ask us all the time, why is this team playing so well? First thing I say, the guy at the plate. Matt Carpenter has carried this team. And the 0-1 pitch. We mentioned some of the other factors as well. Remade bullpen, the jolt of managerial change, and some of the excitement that comes along with that. Strategically, how the Cardinals are going about games this last couple of weeks. A jump in energy on the bases. Here's an 0-2 pitch to Matt Carpenter. And a strikeout. Maybe a different approach offensively as well under Mike Schilt, BJC Healthcare difference maker. Before the managerial change, since It's George Greer, Mark Budaska, and a big change.
Less strikeouts, 5.5 plate appearances per strikeout instead of 4, and that's significant. A lot of games in the first half of the season where the Cardinals would strike out 10 or more times, and it's just hard to get anything going that way.
Molina hits it high out to left. Soto with the catch. Boy, he just missed it. Colton Wong, a key at bat in this game. With the pitcher on deck, you may not get anything going. Wong did, though. The double into the corner and right to score Jerko and Bader. 5-0. Okay, Jimmy, thanks. Max Scherzer, we will not see him in this series. 5-0 our score. Scherzer already with 3 Cy Young awards and maybe on his way to number 4, and he's done it in both leagues. The no-hitters, big game pitcher. We were talking about guys that you would pay to watch play, and we were talking about position players last night. He's maybe number 1 on my list for pitchers.
Yeah.
Had a chance to do some of his college games while at Mizzou too. He was fiery then too.
He's a competitor, no question about it. And I'm not sure there's a better. Is there a better pitcher in the game? Talking about both leagues.
Chris Sale. I mean, he'd be in the conversation.
Yeah.
There's Mike Maddox, his former pitching coach, now Derek Lilliquist, former Cardinals pitching coach with Washington. There was talk when he was in college, and we've seen the delivery. It's very violent, where some felt, you know, there's a lot of moving parts with his delivery. Would it play as he went along in his career? Well, he answered that question and then some. Nice piece of hitting there by Juan Soto. And he'll wind up with a double to start things off here in the top of 5. The bio of the St. Louis native Max Scherzer. Look at the eyes, different colored eyes. 6-time All-Star, 3 Cy Youngs, couple of no-hitters, one of those a near perfect game. 230 or more strikeouts, 6 different times he's done that. It's incredible. And on his way, in my opinion, to the Hall of Fame. Think about the era in which you play and did you dominate.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the barometers for sure. But he's going to hit some numbers too.
Runner at second. Leadoff double by Soto. Now Daniel Murphy. Fly to left first time up. It's right through the wickets of the ball person with the glove, and it went right through the wickets. Now he had to back him up, and that's good teamwork there. But look at this.
Oops.
Come on now.
Oops.
Even he's disgusted with his own effort.
There might be 2 errors on that play. But as Jose Oquendo says, it's not the error you make. The one he's most concerned about is the next ball hit to you.
That's
Are you
right.
ready for it? Do you make an adjustment? I'll be watching those guys.
You don't miss much up here. I give you that. And wouldn't be surprising to see Jose race down that right field line and tell them how to get in a better position.
Didn't have his knees bent.
No.
The first guy didn't have his knees bent. Two straight leg, bent over at the waist, and his head was looking towards the ground, so he couldn't see the ball very well. And he's got, you know, got his story. Next one, next time. It's going to happen, Dan. You know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, no doubt. The ball finds you. 2-2. The 2-2 pitch to Murphy. Instead, time is called. So the pitch count at 70. The Cardinals have not gone very deep with Gant in his games. And I asked Mike Schilt about that, in particular with his last start. He said it's not that we won't do it. It's just if we've got a rested bullpen and some of the matchups coming up, we'll be aggressive with it. 2-2. And a fly ball lifted to left center. There's Bader. Puts himself in a position to throw as well. And throws a strike to third. For our young fans that play the game, watch number 48. That's how you do it. I mean, he even got his body on a ball that he's racing for in a position to throw.
Still got behind it. So he tries to do a little bit of rounding just at the last minute to get the perfect body direction towards third base, and that's his Ricky and Keel impersonation.
Yeah, that close. That's the first Nat to reach third base tonight, and it brings in Matt Adams. Ricky and Keel played for both the Cardinals and the Nationals, and announced to us that he will attempt to come back as a pitcher.
He also worked for the Nationals.
That's right.
Helping young players mentally kind of approach this game properly, and you know, he came from his own experience and wanted to teach them some things that he learned along the way.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Said he'd been working with a young man that has the yips. Been throwing a lot and then got on the mound within the last 10 days. Pitched effectively, hit 89 on the gun. He thinks he can get it up to the low mid 90s. And as he said to me, Dan, I've always had the Snapdragon. That didn't leave.
Sizzling curveball.
Incredible.
Well, even when he had issues when he was going through it the first time, the only pitch he could throw for a strike was his curveball.
That's right.
At times.
I'm not betting against him, I can tell you that.
Well, I think I can speak for all Cardinal fans and say that nobody would want to bet against him.
I'm pulling for him.
Yep.
So many ways. Here's a 1-2 pitch now to Adams. He got him. A strikeout of Matt Adams. 5 strikeouts tonight for Gant.
That's the Vulcan changeup just off the plate, downward dip to it. There are times where I see him throw that pitch from our vantage point, Dan, and it's even worse on the road because we're higher a lot of places where we do our broadcast, both TV and radio, but you can't always see that dip and tell whether it's a curveball or a changeup from the higher vantage point. They have almost the same kind of action to it, straight down.
There's a fastball. Wieters doubled into right center. The pinch hitter at the on deck circle for Washington, that's Ryan Zimmerman. I'm going to do this once and one time only, Horton.
What?
This is it.
One time only.
I'm going to get it out of the way right now.
Okay.
Okay. Ryan Zimmerman is on deck. Where did he go to school?
He went to the University of Virginia, Dan. Back to you.
That's it. We're moving on. I don't need to hear about it. I know you went there. You're All-American in every possible way. I'm done. The 0-2.
Thanks for the plug.
I think, right?
Yeah. So if Mark Reynolds comes up, or if we talk about Doolittle again.
One time only.
Uh-huh.
Fans that don't know, I said Ryan Zimmerman on deck, and immediately Rick grabbed a pen and put UVA on my scorecard.
Now, Dan makes up a lot of things, but that's not one of them.
That was true.
Yes, it was.
That's it out of play.
There's the downward movement again on that Vulcan changeup. The fastball that doesn't go down, it just stays up in the zone. It's a different look. So that's called changing eye level. A hitter gets used to looking down, then you have to look up, look down. It's not rocket science. It's just more difficult to hit when you have to cover that much area of the plate.
And a 2-strike base hit. Wieters a single to left, and that'll bring in Soto, and the Nationals are on the board to make it 5-1. Wieters 2 for 2. And the aforementioned Ryan Zimmerman.
You talked about a bullpen rested, so you're not afraid to take your pitcher out early, Dan. I'm not sure, and we'll talk about that as we go along here. I'm not sure just how rested this Cardinal bullpen is at the moment. Some guys are, some guys aren't, which is a daily issue that the manager and the pitching coach will talk about. Who's ready? Who can go? Tyson Ross has a wrap on his arm. He just started a couple of days ago. He's down there, but he's down there just for fun.
And a 1-0 pitch to Zimmerman, who came into this series the hottest National. You think about Hudson too. There's Brian Eversgerd. There's the days of rest.
So Ponce de Leon, Shreve have 3 days rest, and a number of guys with either 0 or 1, and some of those ones you still may not want to use them much. Bud Norris has thrown a couple of days in a row. He's been up a lot. You're just not sure who may be available specifically, but you have to work around that rest time. And so the days of rest is point one, and you point this out a lot, Dan. Point two is how many times did they get up in the last 3 or 4 days? They both know the answer to that question, and they also know exactly how many pitches they've thrown.
Difference between getting loose and getting hot.
Right.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Zimmerman. Base hit into right. Runners at first and second for Adam Eaton.
I think the phone is ringing. I hear it.
Sure, the Cardinals would like to stay away from Bud Norris tonight. The extended outing in game 1 of the series. Mike Myers could be a guy that's called upon for multiple innings this evening. Mike Maddox a visit.
I believe they were pointing to Chasson Shreve, which makes sense. There's 2, 4, 5 left-handed batters and a switch hitter in the lineup for the Nationals. So you would think lefties would be first up, and we've seen Webb a few times, so I believe Shreve would be the logical choice.
One of the issues for the Cardinals for the better part of this season, getting to Jordan Hicks in the 7th and 8th, Norris in the 9th, that has been changed overnight. July 27th, the lowest bullpen ERA in the National League. The Cardinals 1.55.
I can just say through experience, Dan, it is a fun place to be when you're a part of a bullpen that's working together and working well. And you say, what do you mean together? You're not. There's only one guy on the mound at a time, but there is a energy, a connection, a flow that happens when everybody's doing their job in sync. Roles start to develop. You start to earn roles.
And you start to, don't you manage along with Mike Schilt and say, hey, this guy's got him, you've got him.
And it's all positive. I mean, no one would ever say in the big leagues when the phone rings, oh boy, I hope it's not for me, or I hope it's not for the guy sitting next to me.
Right.
But you would never say that, but you might think, you might be thinking that. So, but the way it is now, it's okay, who's the right guy, and it's all positively directed, and it's just a great energy place to be.
0-1 pitch. And a fly ball lifted out to left. Ozuna is there, makes the catch. Nats get on the board. Bottom of 5 rolls in. and older receive an adult Cardinals mystery BP pullover courtesy of Coca-Cola and Schnucks. Be surprised at the gates when you discover which Cardinals player you get to rep. Purchase tickets for this Friday, cardinals.com/promotions. Martinez, Ozuna, and DeYoung, and we have our first pitching change of the night, and our Chevy called to the pen, and Trevor Gott.
5th time he's been recalled from the minor leagues this season, and in the last 8 games that he's pitched at the AAA level, they have a AAA affiliate, Syracuse, New York. He has pitched 8 innings and given up just 1 run, so he's kind of on a good flow right now, and they need a good flow in their bullpen. And Dan, getting into the bullpen into the 5th inning goes back to our key to the game. If you get the early lead, you force them in an inning as early as the 5th inning to pinch hit, because you have an opportunity, and that really exposes the bullpen. So those early leads in the National League style of play, especially important. And don't tell me we're going to have the DH, because I don't want to hear it. I'm refusing to believe it.
Now, if you're being honest, do you think it's coming to the National League?
Why would I want to be honest? I want to enjoy National League style baseball.
I'm with you.
I mean, last night's game was absolutely terrific. From the 5th inning to the 9th, twists and turns and options and movements and double switches, and it's just what happens in the National League. You pinch hit for the pinch hitter.
It was Greg Garcia.
And now you've got 1 guy left on the bench only at that point, but you're willing to roll the dice and make that happen. It works. Patrick Wisdom gets the hit.
Good cut by Martinez, 3-2. And the opportunity to MC a lot of the season ticket holder events, and I would say just about everyone, it is brought up by the fan base.
Yes.
The DH is coming to the National League, and obviously this is not a great way to judge what everybody thinks, but majority of those fans do not want to see the DH in the National League. Here's one of our longtime season ticket holders there. Three-two pitch and a strikeout.
Martinez hasn't missed many lately, and that is only strikeout number 2 for the Cardinals in this game as they bat in the 5th inning. Make that 3. On the Gant bunt attempt.
And a strike. See how Gott kind of straddles the pitching rubber, and then as he delivers, that right foot will touch. 0-2. We've seen Gott a lot in spring training.
Yeah. He's not a big guy, but he's got a big arm.
Nothing into the count. Ozuna's had a couple of tough ABs, robbed by Trey Turner in the first, and then lined out, hit a scorcher to left. 0-2. Out of play. Can join Jackie Joyner Kersey, Cardinals Care 6K. That'll benefit area children. On course slip and slide, finish on the field. Photos, race shirt, post race watch party. Register now, cardinals.com/6K. Turner has to charge it. Ozuna beats it out. So it evens out. A couple of real good plays to get him. First 2 times up and an infield hit now.
Turner just did not get a handle on it. I think he wanted to try to make that throw, and that might have really led to Ozuna snapping if that didn't turn out into a hit, because he's just had been robbed a few times. He wants this gift, and here's the little hesitation, and maybe he just thought better of throwing the ball. Didn't want to throw it away.
Here's Paul DeYoung. Double to right center, scored in inning number 2, and flied out to center. Reminder that tomorrow is our This One's For You telecast here on Fox Sports Midwest. Austin Gomber against Jeremy Hellickson will come your way at 6:30 Thursday night. Early start time of 6:15 with the first pitch. Always fun to do this. This One's For You tomorrow. Here's a 1-0. Wouldn't believe the letters I get from servicemen and women all across the world that are Cardinal fans that will get up early. Ball games on the Armed Forces Network will be across the world tomorrow. But just incredible what baseball means to them. Seeing home, seeing St. Louis, seeing the Arch, seeing Busch Stadium. Fans enjoying themselves. Woo. 3-1 the count. We've had so many times that serviceman or woman comes back in and they come back to the booth. They're done with their deployment and they say, you have no idea how important that was for our troops. You may not realize it, but it is a big deal. And for our fan base, I understand that sometimes the game seems like it's secondary when we're doing the broadcast, and we understand that. You know, you tune in, you want to watch a ball game. We get it. But tomorrow it's a little bit more meaningful, more special.
Really humbling in a way to hear, in a big way, to hear a serviceman or woman talk about how important it is. And had an experience with Al Raboski on a caravan with Ray King. That's been a while. And we were at Fort Leonard Wood, and Ray King made the statement in front of the crowd there at Fort Leonard Wood. He said, look, what we do doesn't matter, what you do does. And the leader of that place at Fort Leonard Wood, not sure of his rank, stood up and interrupted him and said, sir, I want to respectfully disagree with you, and I want to tell you why. And he went on and gave a speech about when he has been deployed and when his troops have been deployed. Learning and hearing about home and about baseball is in fact important to them, and it's very humbling to hear that. And Ray King had tears in his eyes as he was saying that.
Turner gets the man at second. We featured families specifically on those particular nights, and then dad comes home, mom comes home, and they come in the booth and tears going down their cheeks of what that night meant to them. So again, that's tomorrow. This One's For You. And when we do that, when they pan the seats in the crowd, Tom Mee, our director, they'll find family and friends that they haven't seen. Ronald Acuna, by the way, another home run. So that's 4 homers in his last 3.
Might want to walk him.
He is red hot. Harrison Bader at the plate, runners at the corners.
I suspect, Dan, we're going to start seeing a huge uptick, and I'm not the ticket sales director here at the ballpark, but I just believe that people are going to start to catch on to what's going on with this team, and we're going to see a big spike here at the ballpark.
This weekend, Milwaukee in town, one of the most important series of the year coming up. Hall of Fame weekend as well. Willie McGee signing autographs at 10 over at the museum.
I think we need a mid-season marketing phrase: rediscover the Cardinals.
Wow.
Want me to get some flyers made up?
Runner goes, and it's swung on and missed. So Bader strikes out. Ricky is headed to the ticket office and marketing department, and Bryce Harper's coming up. He homered last night. Come rediscover your Cardinals. It's 5-1. Cardinals over the Nationals. Gio Gonzalez knocked out of the game after 4 innings. Gant pitching now into the 6th. Wong a double that scored 2, and Bader walked, sac fly, and a run scored. Here's Trey Turner. Back to what you were talking about, and maybe trying to get some length out of John Gant in this ball game tonight. This could be an important inning for the Cardinals. Leading 5-1. Nothing into the count on Turner.
Shreve's just going to go along with him in case there's any problem, and eventually he'll get in this game. The lefties are sprinkled all over the place, so I don't know that he's up for anybody in particular.
And a strikeout on 3 pitches. 6 tonight for Gant.
Usually the marching orders that you get if you're chasing Shreve at this point is Brian Eversgerd will say something like, go along with him. Well, he's ready.
So Shreve, the lefty, replaces Gant with Bryce Harper coming up. Nice work by John Gant.
Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Ford, going further so you can. And by Barnes Jewish Hospital and Washington University Physicians, national leaders in medicine. So the Cardinals go to their lefty, Shreve, to face Harper here. And the first pitch is strike. Our Chevy called to the pen. Harper is 0 for 2. He's lined out to right field and struck out. Back in the fourth is John Gant, struck out 6 tonight. He's hitting .234 against left-handed pitching this year.
Really nice outing by John Gant. I wouldn't have minded seeing him go further. And understanding that him pitching to Bryce Harper is rolling the dice a little bit, but for the purpose in my mind of just minimizing how many outs you have to get from your bullpen. Right now it's 3 2/3.
It was 89 pitches tonight for John Gant.
So he's at the end. He's near the end. Especially the way he blew Turner away. And you've got a right-handed bat after Harper.
A 3-1 pitch. 3-2. Hyundai pitch arsenal on the lefty Shreve. What have you thought of him thus far?
I like his fastball. His fastball, the changeup is really a split that he throws. And interesting for a left-hander to throw such a low percentage of sliders.
Struck him out. Comes back to get him. Yeah, normally in that situation, lefty-lefty with a guy like Harper, it's slider after slider.
Right. Well, one thing we've also noticed about Mike Schilt and what he does with the bullpen is he's going to have pitchers stay in longer. There's not so many, well, the right-hander's up now, we're going to go to the right-hander, and lefty, lefty, righty, righty until you're done with everybody. And he, in his mind, he wants to go further as far as he can go with whoever he brings in. So covering 3 2/3 is not like you're going to have 5 pitchers do that. He's going to try to get away with 2 or 3 doing that.
This will help. Foul territory, and Carpenter the catch. Shreve, nice work. Strikes out Harper. Rendon pops out in foul territory, and the Cardinals on top. A key hit in this ball game. A double back in the fourth that scored 2. Jerko and Bader made it 5-0. Cardinals have a 5-1 lead. And got in his second inning of work. Shreve will hit for himself. Outside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. There's a strike. Evens it up at 2-2. Shreve, by the way, even though he's pitched in the American League, does have 2 plate appearances, both with the Yankees, and he was 0 for 2. Saw John Gant get his first hit tonight. A home run. A 2-run shot back in the second inning. The 2-2 pitch to Kolten Wong. And Wong hits it high, deep, out to right. Does it carry? At the wall, it's gone! Kolten Wong, a high, towering home run. He kept it fair. And it's now a 6-1 St. Louis lead.
Well, Kolten isn't all about hitting home runs. He's better when he's not, but occasionally you just run into one. I love the dugout reacts when the Cardinals do something well. I think it's even gotten more pronounced how much they're pulling for each other right now.
It's a season high 3 runs batted in for Kolten Wong, his 40th career home run, and 7, 8, and 9 in the Cardinal lineup. They've driven in 6 and 2 home runs. 2-1 the count. Cardinals, if they can hold on tonight, they'd go to 10 games above the 500 mark.
That is real joy by a teammate. I just love that, Dan. This is, you know, it's oddly a very individualistic game at times. It's just you and the pitcher. And it's individuals playing a team sport. It's often been defined as that, but the interactions that happen in the dugout are very meaningful.
Strikeout is Shreve. First out here in the home half of the 6th. Let's check in with Erica Weston.
Dan, after the game last night, Paul DeJong said he looked in the dugout just before Matt Carpenter's 8th inning home run and said this is his MVP moment. Of course, he delivered big in that moment, but I talked to Carp earlier today. He said it's cool that your teammates think that highly of you, but it's of course not something that crosses his mind, especially when he's playing. But he says it's hard to fathom even being in that conversation. As far as that 8th inning shot, he says it was so special for him during the mound visit. He didn't know if they had put him on the big screen inside the stadium because the fans got on their feet and it really got his adrenaline through the roof, so it was big for him to be able to come through in that fashion. He said he was super excited.
As loud as we've heard Busch Stadium maybe this year. His emotions going around the bag at second base. Trying to extend his on-base streak. He's hitless tonight. The home run hit last night for Matt Carpenter.
And what a moment that was. The fans were into it. Dan, your call was terrific. The celebration was extraordinary. Everything about it, just pure joy.
And you know what? It wasn't a bad pitch.
No.
I mean, I was talking with Ali Marmol before the game about that. Cardinals first base coach, and he was remarking, he said, man, went home, watched the replay of the game, what a moment. And he said, looking at it, kind of going back and forth DVR, he said that was just an incredible at bat, but the pitch was not a bad pitch, and he still was able to hit a 3-run homer, and now Carpenter's extended his on-base streak. I don't know if you saw the interview that Matt Adams had with our Jim Hayes yesterday, but Matt was not happy that Carpenter not texted him back about the salsa. It's now 32 straight games reaching base safely for Matt Carpenter.
Let us be done playing them first.
So get through the schedule, then you could give the ingredients.
Yeah, let them, when they're playing the Cubs or somebody else, you can have all the salsa you want.
Greg Holland throwing in the Cardinals pen. Or rather the Nationals pen, excuse me.
That would really be a story.
No doubt. An in-game trade back to the team that released you.
Oops, I went to the wrong bullpen.
Wait a minute. Molina with a fly ball into left center. And the catch is made.
Time to find an ATM? Again? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Now we've seen it before where a guy gets traded inside a series.
Yes.
And then he's got to come to the ballpark and figure out where to go. And then clean out his locker. Go with his former teammates into that locker room. Get everything out. Go to the other side. That happens.
I believe it was Joe Youngblood, and I'd have to look it up. It may have happened more than once. I believe he was traded between games of a doubleheader.
Boy, that's tough. It's a tough business.
It is. And I'm talking about to the team they were playing in the doubleheader.
Right.
Even more so. I mean, how bizarre must that have been?
And a high fly ball into right center. Colton Wong with a home run. 8th of the year. Hit it about as high as he did far. This team's rolling, folks. 6-1. Recap coming up. That'll be this Saturday. Cardinals.com/promotions. Presented by Edward Jones. Then you start thinking about the next class potentially going in. There's Tyler O'Neill, in right field. There's Juan Soto.
And I was able to find, with the help of our wonderful research analysts in the truck who are tirelessly working between innings, Dan, that it was Joe Youngblood who played 2 games in the same day, but he actually had to travel to play the second game. He got a hit against Ferguson Jenkins for the Mets in an afternoon game at Wrigley Field, was traded after the game, went to Philadelphia, and he got a base hit off of Steve Carlton in the same day.
2 Hall of Famers.
And he played 163 games that year because he played 2 games same day, different teams.
Here's the 19-year-old Juan Soto, also making news. The Braves' Ronald Acuna. He is the first player to homer in his first official at bat in 5 straight games since Willie Mays in 1954. He's done that, matched that tonight.
Dan, the point we made about Shreve not just coming in and pitching to a batter, Mike Schilt not afraid to let him take an at-bat in a game where the Cardinals are leading, so he can go out there and pitch longer and get some more lefties out. So if you pinch hit for him, you use a player on your bench, you have to go to another guy in the bullpen, and you shorten your bullpen fast.
Mike Myers starts to throw in the Cardinal pen. And a 3-2 pitch. He did go, and a strikeout of Soto. So Shreve has faced 2 batters, struck out 2 of the 3. Budweiser, what's on tap tomorrow? Hellickson and Gomber. Austin Gomber has become an effective starter, albeit briefly in the rotation, but has done a very nice job.
Is that slider working now as part of his repertoire? Still working on it, still trying to refine it.
A base hit by Murphy into center. Calling it a slider or a cutter?
Yes.
Gotcha. But it does allow him to pitch effectively on both sides of the plate.
Yeah, and I think there are times I think to lefties he's going to open it up a little bit more, and it's going to be more like a slider. To right-handers it's more of a cutter. You want it flat in on the hands instead of down and in. Lefties, you want it to be breaking down and away.
By the way, Daniel Murphy is hit in 16 straight games against the Cardinals.
That doesn't surprise me a bit.
Former Met, had a remarkable NLCS against the Cubs a couple of years ago, signed with Washington. 2 balls and no strikes on Adams. Matt tonight is grounded out and struck out. So that next class of Cardinals that you think about for the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Adams gets underneath it, hits it a mile high to Tyler O'Neill in right field. I'm thinking Jason Isringhausen, the all-time saves leader in Cardinals history. That's an amazing accomplishment for a local product. A guy that grew up cheering for the Cardinals, and he told me in spring training it would mean more to him to go into the Cardinals Hall of Fame than baseball's
How about that?
Hall of Fame. To wear that red jacket on an opening day and
It will happen.
greet the players. It will happen. I would think that Keith Hernandez needs a harder look, and I think he might be in if he didn't get traded to the Mets.
Right.
I mean, he had some great years in St. Louis. truly one of the best ever defensively at first base. Won an MVP in 1979. World champion 1982. And this is well hit by Matt Wieters. Left field. Ozuna though with the catch. It's time to stretch. Cardinals on top. John Gant, the starter tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know if you felt this way. I thought his breaking ball, we talked so much about the changeup, but when he did go to it, the curveball, it was really effective.
It was
tonight.
useful. Yeah, no question. Fastball was good too, and no walks for John Gant. I think that's a key. You talked about maybe having some days where he threw too many pitches out of the zone, but tonight, not one of those nights.
Chevy called to the pen. And also our Honda home run inning. Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri with a Cardinal home run. And a strike. Chevy called to the pen. Greg Holland was signed on opening day by St. Louis. It did not work out.
Pitched here last night. With the Nationals still a little bit of issues with command. That's what the problem was here in St. Louis.
Outside of the command, what else did you see with Holland?
Well, I mean, it just seemed like he was searching and just not in any kind of flow, and nothing was happening. Had happened good for him, and so he wasn't pitching anymore. He was searching, and he's a veteran guy, smart guy. I mean, good, really good pitcher, top notch closer. But because he didn't have the spring training, I just think he was just too much in a hole, trying to come out of it, and just nothing seemed to work.
Murphy backing up to make the catch.
By the way, Dan, I can't add to you what we were talking about earlier. There was a trade. I thought I'd remembered that, but it wasn't the Joe Youngblood. There was a trade between the Cardinals and the Cubs where they traded two players, and it was in the 1922 season, and because it happened so quickly between games of the doubleheader, they didn't have time to get uniforms, so they just swapped uniforms too. Imagine wearing the other guy's uniform the second game of a doubleheader.
Wool, hot,
1922.
stinky, sweaty, nasty.
They both started too. They both played. I don't know about that, Dan.
DeYoung reaching for it, grounds to short. Out number 2. So Holland has got the first 2 out of the Nats bullpen. Holland, Lance Lynn, some of the others may be case studies in having clients, if you're an agent, sign when deals are offered to you.
Oh boy.
That will add to the intrigue of this offseason outside of guys like Bryce Harper here tonight, Manny Machado, some of the others. Cardinals trying to avoid their first 1-2-3 inning since the 6th inning on Sunday. And the 0-1 pitch. Shallow right field. Murphy called off by Eaton. And the catch made by the right fielder. We head to the 8th. 6-1. Weekend presented by Edward Jones. Coleman, Brackeen, Langford going in. Willie McGee signing autographs at 10 at the museum. Many of the baseball Hall of Famers, Cardinal Hall of Famers will be back in town. 3 o'clock. It is open to the public. If you'd like to find out more, cardinals.com/HOF. And then stick around afterwards. Baseball, Game 2, Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. Mike Myers into the ballgame, and it's a 6-1 score in favor of the Cardinals.
I think Mike Schilt would like nothing better than to get that 3 2/3 innings out of just 2 guys. Another outstanding outing for Chasen Shreve. He went an inning and 2/3, and Mike Myers, our Chevy call to the bullpen, I'm guessing is going to have 2 as long as it all works out. 3.43 ERA and only 11 walks for Myers. That's pretty good.
Wilmer Defoe will be the pinch hitter. Start things off here in the top of the 8th inning. 6-1 our score. Cardinals trying to make it 7 wins in a row and go to 10 games above the 500 mark. Tim Collins, lefty, throwing in the pen for Washington. And the 1-0 pitch, fouled back, 1 ball and 1 strike. Myers has really kept the velocity up for the better part of this season. One game we saw he hit triple digits, but consistently right around 96 to 98.
Was that Cincinnati or Pittsburgh?
Cincinnati.
And he was, I mean, just rearing back and firing it that night. There's the slider, very sharp. I have noticed that if he's pitching a lot, the slider doesn't quite get as sharp, and that's true of most pitchers. That's a little more taxing on your arm to throw a sharp slider, but his is really good when rested.
1-2 pitch.
Good look at the downward movement of it. We talk about tilt. You'll hear players use that phrase all the time, and by tilt, that's what they mean. It's got good depth and tilt to it. Not going to stay on one plane, it will go down.
The 2-2 pitch. And a 3-2 pitch to Bader. I'm curious about this, and I don't remember anything hitting Mike Myers, but I noticed this the other day near the elbow, and just almost like a ball that's the right elbow that's beneath the arm there.
Yeah. Well, we've noticed him wearing compression sleeves in the bullpen, and that's not unusual for pitchers to do it. Certainly not affecting his ability to pitch.
Would you see that sometimes things develop one side of the body more so than another? I know Matt Carpenter on purpose will take swings right-handed because of his oblique and his side. He said, I'm making sure that my one side does not overcompensate the other.
Well, guys know about that lift, and they all lift. They understand balance of left side of your body, right side of your body.
I don't know, just saw it and thinking about it. Guy that's in great shape, big, strong, nothing at 2 out of play. And I give Mike Myers so much credit after what he went through in that opening night. His major league debut on national TV, making a start.
Boy, do we feel for him.
Yeah, it was historically one of the worst starts ever in baseball history. But now, Cardinals went to him in spring training, saw that he had really improved, put him exclusively in the bullpen, and he's done a really nice job. One and 2, 99 on the gun. I mean, there's a lot of pro athletes, a lot of people that would be buried after a game like that.
I think part of being buried there is that the club may think, oops, we've got a guy that's we don't think can get past that. And you know, he's a good pitcher in AAA, but clearly this is not the place for him. But that's not fair either, Dan. It's one day. So one day, you know, Clayton Kershaw could have a bad day and give up 6 runs in the first inning. Right? Wasn't that day, but it was Mike Myers' turn. And I'm not saying Mike Myers is Clayton Kershaw, but you can't draw final conclusions on one day. But it's so unfortunate when you're a young rookie and you're trying to say, do I belong here? And you get a resounding not sure, maybe not on day one. That's tough to overcome.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Adam Eaton at the plate. Full count. Kershaw, in fact, gave up 8 runs against the Cardinals in 2014. That was in the playoffs. Lined and just over to Young into left field, and a 1-out base hit. Biggest office party is back, and don't miss the Biz Dash. Biggest workplace wellness event of the year. Runners and walkers are welcome. Thursday, September 27th at Soldiers Memorial. Rate your company team visiting stlbizdash.com. Brought to you by Fox Sports Midwest. Here's Trey Turner. A 6-1 ball game. There's strike one.
Just had a bit of a melancholy thought, Dan, just thinking about what we talked about earlier, the rediscover the Redbirds, that we feel is maybe happening here, just thinking about Red Schoendienst and how much he would be enjoying what we're seeing right now. Red loved watching good baseball and certainly was so much a part of good baseball as a player, Hall of Famer, World Series manager, and we miss him.
Do we ever? Night like tonight, he'd be at the ballpark early, down in the clubhouse, then come up and peek his head in here, say hello, go over to the radio booth.
Love watching these kids.
That's right.
Just let them play.
That's the one thing I took away from doing the 67 and 68 shows and talking with the players. I specifically would ask about Red. That's how all of them started their answers. He just let us play. He'd come out to a mound visit and say, what do you guys want to do?
If they can't play, they'll eliminate themselves. Used to say that a lot.
A lot of truth to it, too.
I don't have to cut it. They'll cut them. They'll cut themselves.
One of the longest tenured managers in the history of the club. 3-2.
My last day in the major leagues, my manager was an interim manager, Red Schoendienst.
Wow, what a play here. Whoa! Incredible play, Jed Jerko. Red would appreciate that too. Man, oh man, that's a great play.
You can't use your glove with Trey Turner. So forget the glove, bare hand only, off balance throw on the money. Turner in flat out fly too. He got out of the box well, but Jerko got to the ball quickly. Worthy of applause.
It was the only way he was going to make that play. Mentioned it as we saw him play a little bit more at third base last year. How impressed we were. The way that he moved and defensively was, if you looked at the analytics, one of the better defensive third basemen in the game.
Defensive runs saved, range, everything, out of zone plays. This year he's had a bunch of errors that all kind of happened within a short time frame. Not all of them, but many of them did.
Bryce Harper at the plate. Harper tonight 0 for 3, lined out, struck out twice. Talked about how deep Harrison Bader played late innings last night, and that's the case again here in game 2. Very deep in center. Ozuna deep in left. The 1-1. Home plate umpire hasn't missed many, but that one he did. Trip Gibson, the home plate umpire.
Oh boy.
Even Yachty may be having a word or two with the home plate umpire. The 2-1 pitch. And he gets one back. Harper just said unbelievable. And also something else. 2-2 the count. Myers went right back to the same spot on Bryce. The 2-2 pitch. And Harper lifts it down the left field line. It's well hit. And a home run. Barely cleared the wall in left. In his second home run in as many nights, a 2-run shot. And number 30 this season for Bryce Harper. Makes it a 6-3 St. Louis lead.
That's what power can do for you. Tighten up a ball game.
Second time in his career he's hit 30 in a year.
99 up and away. You think you can get it past him. Just barely fair. And he hit it 337 feet.
With that, Dakota Hudson gets up. Harper had 42 home runs in 2015 and now 30 this year. Now Hudson has pitched in 4 of the last 6 days, something to keep in mind. Strike 2, Rendon. Overlooked in the dramatics of last night, the job that Dakota did coming in, runners at second and third, and only one out. And that's a base hit into left center field. Rendon thinking extra bases to the wall. And a double. Then things get a little interesting here at the ballpark.
Well, the last 6 outs, which you'd hoped Myers could get, that's not going to happen.
We'll have a double switch here. Hudson coming on, a double switch when we come back. St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the content descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Mentioned that he's worked for the last 6 days, and they're going to try to get Hudson, I would assume, Rick, for 1 out to get out of this inning, and then maybe Hicks in the 9th inning, thinking that Norris is unavailable after last night. We'll see how it plays out.
I think that's a logical guess, and you'd almost hate to see Hudson go more than that. I mean, this is a key at bat, though, with the tough Soto at the plate. We've seen his power in this series.
And there's strike one. Hudson has been awfully impressive. Future is probably in the starting rotation of the Cardinals, but right now the immediate, he's a weapon out of the pen. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Soto had the opposite field home run hit last night. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Lefties have hit, and it's a small sample size, not well against Dakota Hudson. Meanwhile, Soto gets right-handed pitching, batting .287 against the lefties, which may surprise you. Young guy against left-handed pitching, close to .340. The 2-1. 2-2. Part of the double switch, Patrick Wisdom at third base for St. Louis.
We went through the list of available pitchers, and I would assume Kyler Webb is not the other lefty.
And the 2-2. If he was available, he'd probably be in the ball game right here.
Correct.
Daniel Murphy at the on deck circle, and a big pitch here on 3-2. The next by Hudson. And the tying run will come to the plate.
I think when you think about the Cardinals bullpen right now, I can't count, and it's just a guess, Dan, about availability, more than 3 or 4 innings of pitchers available in this game. I think tomorrow will be a very big difference. You get the extra day, there'll be a lot more ready, but Hicks starting to stretch, and he might start to throw here in a moment.
And it's lined into right field for a base hit. O'Neill, his throw going into third. They may run into an out, but the Cardinals on the relay a little lackadaisical with it, and because of that, Soto is safe at third. He would have been out if that's fielded cleanly by Paul DeJong on the throw by O'Neill.
Well, I think the problem is Paul DeJong was not communicated to. I think he thinks Soto is going to be coming back to the bag. So when he catches it, he goes to tag him and then realizes that too late that he's going to third. There was maybe not enough yelling 3-3-3 to Paul DeJong so he could hear it.
And now the go-ahead run at the plate. And we know about the home run power here of Matt Adams. Tying runs on. It's 6-4 with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. And strike one. If you get a base hit here, you might think about Hicks to get the final 4 outs. Something to think about. Adams is 0 for 3. And the 0-1. Got in just enough. 0-2. Regardless of what happens in this plate appearance, this game's gotten interesting in a hurry.
Sure has.
The 0-2 pitch, Hudson to Matt Adams. Struck him out. Froze him. The Nats pick up 3. Cut the lead to 2. We go to the home half of the 8th. Couldn't pull the trigger. 6-4 St. Louis. Cardinals tonight with our Nissan drive of the game. I wasn't sure I'd ever say that. Ever.
You did.
The Nissan drive of the game and a 2-run homer hit by John Gant. Tim Collins, a lefty, is into the ball game. 18th appearance. No record, 2.77 the ERA. Harrison Bader will lead things off for the Cardinals. The Nationals will have Wieters, Defoe, and Eaton. Looking ahead to the top of the 9th. Cardinals picked up 3 runs in the 2nd inning, 2 more in the 4th, another in the 6th on a Colton Wong home run.
You said this game just got interesting. My question to you, Dan, in the last 3 weeks, how many games have the Cardinals played that have not been interesting?
Good point. It's been entertaining.
Yeah.
Popped up into foul territory. Catch made by Daniel Murphy.
And you know what's odd about those 3 weeks? In the last 3 weeks, have you one time, I don't think I have, but have you one time thought about time of game and pace of play?
No.
Doesn't
Could
matter.
care less, yeah.
When the game's good, it doesn't matter.
I think part of that too is the manner in which the Cardinals are playing, which is not only winning, and that's first and foremost, but for the most part clean defensively and movement on the bases.
You go to a good play and you just get lost in the time, and then it's over. You go to a bad one, you start looking at your watch.
work with you and I whip out that Dizzy Dean watch.
Which you will be wearing on Sunday.
Yes.
And what else will you be doing?
Dizzy Dean quotes.
I want three or more. Three's fine.
Can they be forced or they?
You could.
They have to be natural. Wong a base hit into center.
I'll let you choose.
Because some of them need to stay off the air.
Oh no!
So those don't count.
Don't use the ones that you can say on the air.
Here's Patrick Wisdom, couple of hits in his major league debut on Sunday. Key move by the Cardinals last night was to have Garcia announced. Dave Martinez then went to his lefty. And then Wisdom, pinch hit for Garcia, got a base hit to right. Opened up the inning. So 1 out and a runner at first base in Colton Wong. Wong has now reached base in 7 consecutive plate appearances. I like that after the home run. Sometimes we talk about where he gets a little pull.
Yep.
Heavy, maybe power thinking.
Maybe the best thing is to hit against the lefty.
Exactly.
You have to keep the front shoulder in. You have to stay closed. You're not going to be pulling and yanking because you know you're susceptible to the breaking ball moving away from you. So you tend to stay in your. Tougher to hit lefty on lefty, but the mechanics of hitting, you're less apt to try to just be a home run guy.
Wong is running and it's tapped foul. Made the statement a few weeks ago. I felt that Wong under Mike Schilt might be the guy that would see more than most thrive under Mike. He would play him every day, righty lefty. There's a familiarity between the two. Like sometimes younger players will look over their shoulders. They go 0 for 4. They're in a rut 0 for 10. They say, well, now I'm out of the lineup. Wisdom. What a play here. The turn not in time. Hit that on the button and Turner makes a nice play.
Series has had its share of good defensive plays too. You can add this one to the list on the backhand, the dive, the sure throw. Favorite defensive play of the series might be Jerko's play early in this game. Although I think I have one to trump that, DeYoung's double play on Bryce Harper.
Here's Carpenter, who did extend his on-base streak to 32 with a walk. There's strike one. Nationals with the fewest errors in Major League Baseball, 46. 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Back with you tomorrow. This one's for you. Pre-game show 6:30. Austin Gomber, the lefty for St. Louis in Game 3. Well, Collins has got a little bit of the mad Hungarian look when out. Did not have the Fu Manchu, but the beard.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'd see it. He seems to be
a little bit more calm.
Tad calmer. I think exactly the word I was looking for. and afraid to say.
You want me to say it? I know you do. The darker hair
No, I didn't say
compared
that.
to Al right now.
I wasn't thinking that, but you made your bed. Keep going.
Go ahead. What were you going to say? I'm too scared anymore. I still have to work with him.
I was going to say I love Al.
Oh, sure.
Can't wait for the postgame.
I work with Al, I think, in L.A. next road trip. And that's going to be a, well, fun visit. Let me tell you something. I heard what you said about me.
I know how to divert his attention.
Al will have maybe the last word because he's got a studio hit coming up with Jim Hayes before the 9th inning. Al, you know I love you, and you know I love working with you. So just be kind. All I was saying is that Collins got a little bit of that mad Hungarian look, and your partner here leaving me out to dry. You're just hanging me out to dry. Right now he's, you believe what he's saying over there, Jimmy? Go ahead.
I'm just happy to be here.
Thanks a lot. 0-2 pitch. Popped up. Playable Wieters with the catch. He leads it off when we come back in. Al's got a studio hit coming up. Oh boy.
I heard a little bit of the mad Hungarian come out there.
Oh yeah, he threw his, look at that. I mean, we have a little delay of the studio hit that they did, and Al stood up and threw the watch, yelling at you. Have fun tomorrow, Rick. Looks like it'll be a blast.
It will. It will be.
Always fun to be with the mad Hungarian. There's Matt Wieters, 2 for 3, a double and a single tonight. Jordan Hicks into the ballgame in a 2-run lead. The first pitch to Wieters.
I don't want to say it, Dan, but I'm compelled to say it, that Bryce Harper is due up 5th in this inning if the Nats get anything going.
To be efficient.
No walks in front of him.
Harper is homered in both games of the series. There's a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. First pitch 102, that one 101. If the Cardinals can hold on, the Cubs lost today. St. Louis would be 4 back of the Chicago Cubs, stay 2 back of Milwaukee. And the 1-1 pitch. DeYoung to his left. Can he get him? Get it out of the glove. He got him.
Wieters just not able to run well, and DeYoung lays out, has to double pump, but a strong throw just in time to get him.
Big first out. Wilmer Defoe with 1 away. First pitch to him. Slow roller hit up the first base line, foul.
I love a good defensive play, especially so when it happens in the 9th inning.
Everything just has a way of calming down if you can get that first out.
Oh my goodness.
Especially that type of play.
We talk about swing pitches all the time, swing moments. That's a swing play. That play was made with confidence too.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Wilmer Defoe.
It was actually a strike, and he jumped out of the way of it.
Yep. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's the one thing Jordan Hicks will do. He'll rush his delivery sometimes. Lower half, the arm will drag, the ball will be high. And you know, it's not just Jordan Hicks doing it. Anybody, any pitcher will do that. But when you're throwing 100, the launch angle is even worse, and it gets on Yachty in a hurry.
Backhanded by Wong. That was smooth, wasn't it?
It was.
Budweiser play of the game back in the 6th inning, and a home run hit by Colton Wong. He's had a big night. And for Wong, home run number 8. The Cardinals 1 out away from taking the first 2 in this series. Adam Eaton, the top of the lineup. 38,214. This evening at Busch, 38214. A loss, and the Nationals go to 500. A win for the Cardinals, they go to 10 above the 500 mark. And the 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I enjoy watching Bryce Harper hit, but I can wait until tomorrow.
Turner on deck, and then it would be Harper. The 1-1 pitch. 1-2. The 1-2 pitch. 103 on the gun. And again, the 1-2 pitch by Jordan Hicks. 2-2. Two pitch. Hit him. Mike Maddox out to visit. It's 101 on this pitch. Just above the elbow guard.
I enjoy watching Bryce Harper hit, but I can wait until tomorrow.
Now Trey Turner. 0 for 4 tonight with a pop out, pair of ground outs and a strikeout.
Yachty telling Patrick Wisdom to be careful about the bunt.
The play behind the runner. Eaton off with the pitch and a ball. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Harper on deck.
Stay back. Throw downhill.
The 2-0. 3-0. The 3-0 pitch to Trey Turner. Now 3-1. Three balls, 1 strike on Trey Turner. 3-2. And again, the Nationals down to their final strike. The 3-2 pitch by Hicks. Fly ball into right. This will do it. O'Neill is there. 7 in a row for the Cardinals. They are now a season high 10 games above the 500 mark. 6-4 the final. The standings in the Central. The Cardinals on this winning streak now are within 4 of the Chicago Cubs.
6 RBIs in this game from the bottom of the lineup for the Cardinals. Bader, Wong, and Gant. Good work by John Gant, the starter, and Jordan Hicks bent a little, but he didn't break in the ninth.
Left Harper on deck.
we'll watch him tomorrow.
6-4 the final. The postgame show coming up with Hungo and Jim Hayes.